Hey everybody, Curseius here. Welcome back to Throne of Lies. Today we're going to talk about all classes that exist in the game for the Blue Dragons. There's quite a few of them, so let's go ahead and get started. The Good King is guaranteed to spawn. Well, the King is guaranteed to spawn. The King has a 70% chance to be good, a 30% chance to spawn evil. If you do spawn as the Good King, you are aligned with the Blue Dragons. You are a special class, and you have several passives and abilities, and here they go. Tenacity, you are immune to Occupy and Redirection, and you can talk during the trial phase, basically the phase where the accused can defend themselves, and any other part where no one else is allowed to speak. Loyal Subjects, if the starting Good King is executed during a trial, the court cannot make treason accusations for 1 day. This passive exists to make sure that the court just won't automatically execute the starting king for a more confirmed king. So just make sure that you aren't too passive and get yourself killed by the court. Day abilities. The Royal Finger. Your next treason nomination will count twice. This ability exists so that the king can break 1v1s against classes that can't kill him, or the classes he can't kill. Basically, that's it. And also, it kind of just swings the balance of voting into the favor if it is a very slow vote. Decide Fate. Decide an accused player's fate during a treason trial. You can basically override the court, and you can decide to pardon or execute someone who is currently on trial for treason. If you pardon, that person cannot be upped again for treason for the rest of the day. If you decide to execute, that person will be executed. No voting required, no democracy from the court. So that's pretty much it. But also, if you do accidentally decide to execute the hunter's retribution arrow will kill you instead of the last person who voted up the hunter. Now, the night abilities. Guards. You can have a guard protect you for the night, granting you death immunity. And Safeguard. Basically, this is like your guards, but you give it to someone else, and you have 4 of them. Use these to protect important classes like the Prince, confirmed investigatives, confirmed supports, anybody who's confirmed and probably a good target for the evils. Now, a quick tip for the king is I always guard night 1. It sounds like a waste, but there is no point to you spawning as Good King if you die night 1. Because as the king, you need to lead the claim train or the vote for roll on the next day going forward if there are no leads. And so that is the Good King. The Butler. The Butler is an offensive class for the Blue Dragons. You have 1 passive, which is Dutiful. You are immune to Occupy and Redirection. 1 day ability, Poison Wine. Secretly poison the king. If targeted the Good King, you will take your life the following night. So basically, if you kill a Good King with the Poison Wine, then you will kill yourself the next night, and you will not be able to use your abilities or anything. But however, if you are converted to Servant the same day that you poison the Good King, you will not take your life the next night. Interesting interaction there. Anyways, night abilities. Serve wine. Serve target player wine, occupying them for the night. They will be prevented from taking any actions tonight. Basically, this is like in Town of Salem, like escort or consort. You are role blocking somebody. You're preventing them from doing anything for the night unless they are immune to being occupied. Concentrated wine. Throw a party, occupying everybody that targets you. Basically, you just throw a party. Anyone who targets you, they get occupied unless they are occupy immune. In which case, if they're an occupy immune killer, they're going to kill you anyways. But that is pretty much it for the Butler. If there's anything that you would take from this class is you would occupy suspicious players. Anyone voting against what they're saying, anybody saying one thing, doing another, someone who hasn't claimed, etc., etc. So kind of just, don't just occupy people, especially if they're claiming to be investigative. If you're occupying investigatives, you might get called a servant and executed by the court. The Chronomancer is a healing support for the blue dragons, has one passive ability, and converts into the Time Snatcher for the Unseen. Now, the passive ability, the day ability, is Pocket Dimension. If you die tonight, delay your death for 2 nights, usable day 1. Now, just taking from that alone, all the Chronomancer's healing basically does just that. It delays a player's death for the night and for 2 nights. And after the 2 nights, the death goes off like an attack and kills them, whether it was bleeding or anything else. And the Time Warp ability, of course, delay a player's death for 2 days. This includes bleeding. You can delay the same death multiple times. Delayed deaths can be prevented by heals and death immunity. And Distort Reality here transfers all deaths delayed with Time Warp to another player. So basically, Chronomancer is a kind of an offensive healer in a way. I mean, if you do get a delayed death on somebody, you can move it to somebody who is more suspicious. And if they don't die, or if they do die and it turns out they were suspicious, all the better. But as far as it goes, as the Chronomancer, you should always be trying to heal targets of opportunity who would be attacked by Unseen or by the neutral killer, like the Prince, Sheriff, Maid, Princess, other classes like that. Even Knights. Sometimes even Knights would be a good target, but you never know. But that is the Chronomancer. The Court Wizard is a support for the blue dragons, has several day abilities and several night abilities, but we'll start with the night ability first. And the Court Wizard converts into the Sage for the Unseen. Now, night abilities: Intensify. Allow target player to bypass occupation and redirection tonight by fortifying them with runes. Your target will know that you helped them. So if this is successful, if you do successfully help someone bypass redirection immunity, then they will, they will be told. But otherwise, they will not be told. Now, this can be enhanced by your day abilities, which we're going to start up here now. Clear Mind. Intensify will render your target convert immune in addition to its normal effects. So basically, this is an ability you would use on nights 3, nights 3, 5, every other night that you know the mastermind or cult leader will be actively converting. Icy Veins. Intensify will render your target death immune in addition to its normal effects tonight. Now, this is a huge ability because you have 3 charges of this. So basically, this is like the king who has the ability to give out 3 guards. The Court Wizard also has the ability to give out 3 guards. Or the king gives out 4 guards, but anyways, the Court Wizard gives out 3 guards. This is pretty huge. You want to use this on players who most likely will be attacked by the Unseen or by the neutral killer. This includes the Prince, Maids, other investigatives that would really get in the way. Now, night abilities. Intensify. Or we already looked at Intensify, didn't we? Tornado is the next one. Target 2 players. Redirect all players targeting either of your targets to the other. If an occupy/redirect is moved to yourself with this, you'll be immune to it. This is actually no longer a valid statement because it used to be Tornado used to override occupation redirection and move it. So this no longer actually really counts. But if this is kind of just like Transporter in Town of Salem, except the people targeting your 2 swaps will know they hit the swaps. They'll be told. Now, as far as Court Wizard goes, like just basic tips, you want to just make sure that you are using Clear Mind on nights 3, 5, 7, or nights you know that the Mastermind cult leader will be converting. Use Icy Veins on important targets when you are certain there are no more healers, like targets like the Prince will be vulnerable. And that's pretty much it. Use Intensify without any additions on targets like Physicians, Chronomancers, Knights. Help them, bypass being, occupied. But that is the Court Wizard. The Drunk is a offensive class for the Blue Dragon, has 2 passive abilities, converts to the Alcoholic for the Unseen, and has 2 night abilities. Now, the first passive ability is Royal Blood. During elections for a new king, votes for you will count twice. So yes, when the original king dies, there will be a quick election, a democratic election, at the start of the day, before the actual day begins. And all votes for you will count twice. Simple enough. I am the Liquor, immune to Occupy and Redirect abilities. Again, the Drunk is immune to being redirected and occupied. Simple enough. Debauchery is Night ability. Redirect target player to another. So basically you're forcing target player A to target player B. This, basically if someone is really suspicious, or if you feel like an investigative, like a sheriff is being messed with, you might want to move them around to targets that would actually probably be more important to check. But more often than not, don't move sheriffs and other investigators around. You kind of want to try to move killers around. Like if you're pretty sure someone is like the sorcerer or the one of the other neutral killers, you want to kind of move them to targets that might be more suspicious. Happy Hour. Redirect target player to themselves. Now this is most useful for either like killing the assassin, because you can make the assassin kill themselves, forcing the mastermind to target themselves so they don't convert anybody, forcing cult leader to kill themselves or try to convert themselves, which won't work. So this is a really good ability, and generally you want to save this for the mid to end game. Never use this early. And now as far as it goes for tips for Drunk, just be active in the chat. Do not look like you are a sellsword. Sellsword is a neutral scum that has the same exact ability. And so you want to make sure that you are active and do not look like you might be a sellsword. Don't redirect players that don't really deserve it. Make sure you redirect players who probably haven't claimed or are acting suspicious. And that is the Drunk. The Hunter is a killer class, a unique killer class for the Blue Dragon. Has one passive, converts to the Poacher for the Unseen, and has a day ability and 2 night abilities. Now the passive, Retribution. If the court votes to execute you, you will kill the last player who voted against you. Basically what this means, whoever voted, the very last person to vote you before the trial started, that person will die if they vote to execute you. Very simple. Day ability, Wolf Companion. It's also for the Retribution. If the king uses Decide Fate to execute you, you will kill the king. Anyways, Wolf Companion, the day ability, cause a player to bleed. They will die in 2 nights unless saved. Generally, you want to make sure you tell physicians not to heal people you bleed. This is kind of generally it's a etiquette kind of thing. Usually, you don't let physicians heal people that you bleed. Also, you will generally be asked to use this ability to confirm yourself as Hunter, or at least as a class that can cause bleeding. In an Unseen game, this could mean you're a potential assassin. In a cult game, this means you are a potential cult leader, but at the very least, you are kind of soft confirmed as a Hunter. Now, the night abilities, Hunter's Mark. Target 2 players. If the first player targets the second, you will occupy and attack the first. If you kill a blue dragon, you will lose all charges, not usable until night 3. Just like this says, you target 2 players. If the first player you targeted targets the second, you will attack and occupy the first. Generally, you want to use this on players who are kind of acting suspicious and might actually seem like they're lying about what they are doing. So that's pretty much it. And like if you think someone's the mastermind, you would target them and then target someone who would actually be a conversion target for them and see if they actually go for it. Now the second night ability is kind of your bread and butter baiting ability, the Bear Companion. Your bear will kill visitors attempting to attack you tonight. Bypasses death immunity. You will be immune to death and conversion tonight. So again, this is kind of the bread and butter baiting ability. You kind of want to make enemies or enemies think that you are the unseen or the cult, think that you are out of bears, used all your bears, not going to bear, whatever. But always make sure in your logs that you do not kind of give away how many bears you have used. Generally in the logbook, I like to put bear with a question mark. So, because that, how many bears you've used is information for the evil. It is not evil that, it's not information that will help Blue Dragon find the evils. So don't ever reveal how many bears you have used. And that is the Hunter. The Knight is a killer for the Blue Dragon. They have two abilities: to defend a player from attack and to attack other players. They are converted into the Enforcer for the Unseen and have one passive. Now the passive Armored, your armor will protect you from the first attacker blocked by Defend. Now defend target player, pretty simple. You will trade your life to kill their attacker or attackers. This will kill multiple attackers. You and anyone you kill will be unhealable. Pretty simple. Now, like it says in the passive, the Armored passive will protect you one time from being killed by this ability. Cold Steel. This ability cancels if you are redirected. Attack target player. If you harmed an ally, you will take your own life. Unhealable. Not usable until night 3. So basically, if you attack somebody and they turn out to be a Blue Dragon, you automatically kill yourself that night. Although I think this needs to be changed to where you kill yourself the next night. But, you know, the people will probably scream vigilante. Anyway. The other thing, like I said, if you're redirected, you will get a notification that says you were redirected to X, you decided not to attack. Now that is it. And the Knight, like I said, the Knight converts to the Enforcer for the Unseen. And that is it. So tips for the Knight: scum read. You have to scum read. Do not lie about what you are. If you're a Knight and you're asked what you are, tell them what you are. Always make sure that you're defending the Prince or other important investigatives if the Prince is not outed. And make sure you are cold stealing people who are kind of aggressively sussing you. Honestly, generally people who will aggressively suss you are the ones that are trying to take attention off themselves. And people trying to take attention off themselves by sussing you kind of deserve the sword in the butt that's coming. And that is the Knight. The Maid is an investigative for the Blue Dragon, converts into the Handmaiden for the Unseen, and has only 2 abilities. Now, the Maid can be the most overpowered or the most useless class in the game. And here's why. Matchmake. Test if targets are compatible with the last checked player. Basically, you are checking to see if 2 players win together, or if they're on the same team, basically. The first target you are checking against is always random, because it's, you know, you're checking against someone against the last person you checked. Well, on night 1, you don't have a last person you checked, so this gives you a random last person you checked, and that's the person you check against your first target. Nosy Servants. Discover if a living player visited a dead player on the night they died. Very simple. So now we're going to get back to Matchmake here. Now there are false and positive negatives with this. False positives and false negatives, I mean. A first false negative is 2 players with royal blood will always show up incompatible with each other. So that means the drunk and the prince will show up as incompatible with each other because they both have royal blood. The scorned will always show up incompatible with everybody. That is the neutral class, the scorned. They will show up as incompatible with everybody. The fool will always show up as compatible with everybody. Kind of like how the alchemist does. Anyway. Now, the reason that this ability can be so overpowered is because you can start with the neutral killer as your first random target. And so you can get the neutral killer out day 2, and you really did nothing to deserve it. But then there's other times where you can just find people who are just compatible, and you get hung because your information looks really bad. So, take the Maid for what it is, but just always check people who seem like they are not claiming, being suspicious. And try to use the Prince, though. Here's the biggest thing. Always check people against the Prince, because you can use the Prince as a control. The Prince will only be incompatible with people who do not win with him. So that is a good one to remember. But that is pretty much the Maid. The Mystic is a social blue dragon that converts to the Illusionist, has the passive of being immune to Occupy and Redirection, even though they don't visit. Really makes no sense. But anyways, it has 2 knight abilities. Link Minds. You cannot link the King. Allows you to talk with other players. Fails if a player is reaped by the Reaper. So basically you can link minds with someone and you can chat with them. Basically the point of this ability is to gather information. Ask them their claim, what they are, and what they are doing tonight, and log it down in your logbook. Conduit. Allow 2 players to speak to each other tonight and hear them. Fails if player is reaped by the Reaper. Again, this will allow you to have 2 players be able to chat with each other, and you can read what they're talking about. And it's also best to make sure that you just basically just copy and paste some stuff they're saying and put it in your logbook to make sure that you are confirmed. But as far as it goes, just link people at night who have not claimed, or use Conduit to link the Prince along with other investigatives. Very simple. But that is the Mystic. The Noble is a social blue dragon that has royal blood, so votes in an election for a new king count twice for you. Has 1 day ability, converts to the Aristocrat for the Unseen, and has 2 knight abilities. Now the first knight ability is the Noble's bread and butter and should be used the most often, including especially Knight 1. Do not use Court Spy Knight 1, there's a lot of reason for this. Now the knight ability Gossip. Receive feedback of most abilities used on target tonight, with restrictions. No conversion, attack, king, debauchery, self-targeted, instant evil confirming, or other gossip abilities will be seen. But what you can see are results from investigatives like the Observer, the Princess, the Sheriff, the Maid. You can see frames from the Scorned, heals from the Physician, heals from the Chronomancer, defends from a Knight. You can see a lot and confirm a lot of blue dragons. The Noble's existence is to confirm other blue dragons. Court Spy, summon shadows to report the contents of all whispers tomorrow. So basically you will be able to read all whispers for the day, but this is not as useful as it might seem unless evils are really, really stupid and talk to each other a lot. But like I said, you will be using Gossip the most. And tips for the Noble, always try to gossip the Prince, so you can confirm all the supports that have visited the Prince. If the Prince does not out Knight 1, then gossip someone randomly Knight 1. See if you can get lucky and catch a Physician, a Knight, a Sheriff, somebody visiting, something you can confirm and confirm yourself as Noble. And that's pretty much it. Political pressure is the Noble's day ability. Force target player A to accuse target player B of treason and prevent target player A from any further voting for the day. Generally, you will be asked to use this ability to confirm yourself as Noble. Just remember, don't use this willy-nilly. Use it when, evils might actually have a majority in the court and you need to force one of those evils to vote another evil. But generally, like I said, sometimes you will be asked to use this to confirm yourself. But that is the Noble. The Observer is an investigative for the Blue Dragon that converts to the Night Watch for the Unseen and has 2 knight abilities And this can be the strongest investigative in the game if used correctly. Its knight abilities: first, observe. Discover who target player visits. So basically, you target number 15. You can see that number 15 visited number 2, and number 2 died. Well, there you go. You found the potential killer of number 2. Overlook. Discover who visits target player. So basically, the prince outs. You overlook the prince, and you can see that 7, 9, and 15 all visited the prince. And so those are all potential knights, healers, and possibly even a noble. So the observer can be very confirming, very powerful if used correctly. Again, you really want to use observe, and here's the tips. You want to use observe to follow people who have not claimed. That's a good one. Follow people who have not claimed. See where they go. If it seems like they're going to random people, they might be evil. Overlook. Use overlook to protect other players who might be really important, or to confirm the existence of other players like physicians and knights and stuff like that. Generally, you don't want to not be where you shouldn't be, which is on the prince overlooking, if you don't have a reason to follow somebody with observe. And that is observer. The physician is a healing support for the blue dragons that have a passive ability, converts to the herbalist, 2 day abilities, and 2 night abilities. So first, the passive ability, remedy studies. You are immune to being bled. So no bleeding. Bleeding abilities from the hunter or the assassin or cult leader will not harm you. You have nothing to worry about there. Now the day abilities, these are actually both very important. Exhume. Tonight, discover what classes killed target player, or if the player killed themselves. So yes, actually this will tell you if multiple different classes killed someone. So like if you exhume number 14 who died, you can see it was both alchemist and assassin that killed them. Or alchemist, assassin, and reaper. If evils are so unlucky. Anyway, the inoculate does not heal bleeding. Remember, keep that in mind. Make a player permanently immune to bleeding. They will not be notified to target him. They will keep this passive even if their class changes. So basically, this is the use this on the prince ability. You should be using this on the prince, no one else, unless you are for certain that there's another physician that already did it, in which case use it on another friendly BD who is confirmed. But most of the time, use this on the prince. Night abilities. Heal. Does not affect unhealable attacks. Use your staff to heal target player, preventing their death and curing any bleeding. Very straightforward. If they're bleeding, you'll heal them. If they're attacked, you'll heal them. And if not, you'll be told they did not require any healing. And if a noble was watching them, they would have saw your visit. Self-care. If you are attacked tonight, you will heal yourself. Again, this is very self-explanatory and has 2 charges. So the physician is very well equipped for the long game if played correctly. Essentially, like I said here, though, for most healers, you want to be on the prince. But if the prince is not outed, you want to be on confirmed investigatives, confirmed other supports, possibly even knights. Knights are very well targeted by evils if they are legitimate. So keep that in mind and just be active in the chat. Make sure to announce your exhumes when you get the information, and always exhume a dead player that died night 1. Unless, of course, they're for sure DC'd. The Prince is the primary killer for the Blue Dragon. The Prince has royal blood, is immune to occupy and redirection, cannot be converted by the unseen or cult, has 1 day ability and 1 night ability. This is the high pressure class, just like Jailer in Town of Salem. All the pressure is on the Prince, and so I feel sorry for anybody who rolls this, but the job must be done by somebody. So, Royal Blood, this really has no point. You will never, ever, 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 ever step forward to be king. Your ability to imprison people is far more important, even if you have no executes. You are immune to occupy, which means you cannot be stopped from killing anybody. Now, imprison. Choose target player to imprison or jail tonight for anonymous interrogation. Target will see you named only Prince, can jail the same player only 3 times. After 3 times, you cannot jail them again. So on the 3rd time, if you jail somebody for a 3rd time, you better be killing them. Now, Night ability, execute. Execute the jailed player. If they were Blue Dragon, lose all charges of execution. Not usable until night 3. So, basically when you jail somebody, you are going to basically start right off screaming at them, give me your logs, what's your class, tell me everything you're doing, or you have been doing. If it's night 1, just ask for their class and tell them, you know, try if they say they're a healer or an investigative, tell them what to do, where to go. Lead the Blue Dragons around. Tell them what to do. If they do what you tell them to do, then generally you can trust them. If you think they're lying to you and you don't like their logs when they give them to you in jail, you can kill them. Very simple. If somebody is a confirmed evil or a confirmed fool or scorned, you should just jail and kill them. Do not let disruptive neutrals like the Fool or the Scorned exist, or even the Inquisitor. If someone is confirmed to be one of these classes, or the Sellsword, if anyone is confirmed to be one of these classes, you should just jail and kill them. Don't let them exist just to cause chaos in the court. But otherwise, you are looking to kill evils, and that's pretty much it. That's the Prince. Try not to out day 1, because you could cause the Reaper here to do his Circle of Death and kill every single support that spawned in the game, and that would not be a good thing. Try to stay anonymous if you can. In fact, try to look scummy for the first 2 days. If you look scummy for the first 2 days, then, you know, hey, nothing a knight or anybody can do to try to kill you. So, you know, and then day 3, you can come out and say, okay, I'm the Prince, you know, everybody on me. So, but like I said, the Prince is the highest pressure class. You need to really be on point with the scum reading, on point with the kills, and really just work hard. And this is a class that you can't perfect the first time you play. So, good luck with that, and that is the Prince. The Princess is an investigative for the Blue Dragon, has royal blood, and has 2 knight abilities, and converts into the Duchess for the Unseen. Now, the first knight ability, Flirt. Limit a player's class type down to 2 options. Basically, these options are special or investigative, killer or offensive, and social or support. If they are social, then they will show up as social or support. If they're support, they will show up the same. Yeah, so you get it. Those are the pairings. Will-O-Wisp. Discover if target player attacks anyone tonight. That's pretty much it. The Princess, basically, you are the scum reading class. This is the class that does a lot of scum reading. Kind of like Investigator in Town of Salem. You are seeing what the potential of what players could be. And if someone claims to be physician and they show up as special or investigative, then you already know that they are something like the mastermind. And they need to be killed. So that's pretty much it. Be active in chat. Report your information daily. Do not hide information. If you are hiding information, it looks scummy. Always just report your information, even if you made a mistake. But as far as it goes, that's pretty much it. And the Will-O-Wisp does not count as a visit, so Observer will not see that. And always step up to be king in elections. And that is the Princess. The Sheriff is the primary investigative that spawns in an unseen game. They are an investigative for the blue dragon. They convert to the marshal for the unseen, have 1 day ability and 2 night abilities. Now, the sheriff has a confirmed spawn on the class list. If anybody publicly claims sheriff, you must, and I really mean it, you must counterclaim that spot. That is your spot on the roll list. You must counterclaim it. You must say, I also counterclaim sheriff. Even if it's true that you are both sheriff, remember, only one of you is actually guaranteed to have spawned. And if there's already like 5 dead blue dragons, it really kind of probably means that one of the 2 sheriffs is garbage. I mean, it's very rare when, you know, multiple sheriffs and there's like multiple sheriffs with like 5 dead blue dragons. That's really bad luck. But as far as it goes, the abilities now, the day ability scout. You'll be alerted if the unseen visit target player. The scout will stay on the player until you command them to watch someone else. This is not usable day 1. This is usable day 2 and beyond. This is basically, you want to put this on people who might be converted by the unseen or visited by the mastermind or other random or, you know, converted unseen members. Night abilities, the first one, expert investigation. Determine if a player is a member of the unseen faction. This is straightforward. If someone is evil, you will see them as such. If they are framed, you will see them as such again. Surveillance. If target player is a member of the unseen, you will discover their class. This can be very confirming for a sheriff if used correctly. Never use this night 1, but I do see a reason for using this night 2 because after night 1, night 2, there will be a converted blue dragon that exists out there. So if you can find them and get lucky and hit them, then you confirm yourself as the sheriff and worthy of protection. And if you miss, well, you know, oh well. But as far as it goes for the sheriff, check people who have not claimed. Check people who claim suspicious classes. Chronomancer, Knight, Maid, other sheriffs. Check other investigative claims on night 4. Because the mastermind shows up as innocent for the first 3 nights. So on night 4, you should check everybody who claims to have been an investigative class after night 4. Or after night 3. And as far as it goes, just check, like I said, check people who don't claim, check people who are acting suspicious, people who are pushing for bad executions, not giving logs, stuff like that. Very general scum reading tips. And as far as it goes, that is the sheriff. So that is it for all the Blue Dragon classes. The next video, I will cover all of the unseen classes, all the variants of all the Blue Dragon, converted Blue Dragons, and all of the cult, because there's only a small list of cult, and I will cover the other kings as well. And then in one last video, I will cover all the neutrals. So if that helped you out with this game, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, punch the like button, comment down below, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.